Michael, no, dude, is this happening? I can't believe it's happening. Let's go. Sony developing a PlayStation handheld console to
Ooh.
compete with the Switch and the Xbox. Mike Straw over Insider Gaming. Dude, Vita 2? Is this even like possible? Sony is gearing up to enter the handheld console market. A new report from Bloomberg states that Sony is developing a portable handheld console that would allow people to play their PlayStation 5 games while on the go. According to the report, development on the new system is in the early stages. Quote, Sony's portable device is likely years away from launch, and the company could still decide against bringing it to the market, the people said, asking not to be named, discussing private plans, end quote, the report reads. It said that the development, quote, builds on the PlayStation Portal. Yes, it does, because that is a fantastic device. As opposed to playing games via streaming them from the console over the internet. However, this new device will be an actual console that is aiming at competing with the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo's upcoming Switch successor. Bloomberg adds the sources told them the Sony's original plan for the Portal was for it to work as a standalone system, like Valve's Steam Deck, before it became the streaming device it is. Sony declined to comment to Bloomberg on the report. Editor's note though, Tom Henderson, the new PlayStation handheld started developing following the highly successful launch of the PlayStation Portal. That is cool, which exceeded companies' expectations. Dude, I'm telling you, so now even Microsoft's like, how do we get into the handheld market, right? Because I find this one an interesting one, Michael. Before I dive into my thoughts, because I have a lot of thoughts on this one, where are you at PlayStation handheld console? Is this the future?
I mean, I think everybody realizes that being able to play your games on the go is what gamers want to be able to do, right? I mean, Nintendo has had that market for decades, right? The Game Boy, the Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo DS, all of that has been Sony, or not Sony, Nintendo. Sony and Xbox kind of been like, yeah, you come home, you play our games, but if you're ever on the go, you've got to play Nintendo. And I like the fact that Xbox and Sony are at least hopping in. Both of them, by the way, have said, yeah, we're years away, right? Like, I don't think they're going to compete with the Switch 2. The Switch 2, by the way, may be coming out sooner than we think, but I'll be curious to see where these consoles go. I'd be curious to see if Xbox and Sony drop theirs middle of this generation, right? Or is this going to be more paired with the next one, where it's like, all right, we're just going to wait for the PS6 or whatever Xbox has, and alongside them, we'll drop handhelds through. I'm very curious to see when this is, because I know we're hyped, but everybody at Sony and Xbox are like, hold on, few years away, 2028, 2029, temper your expectations, Drew.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, right? We're years away. This whole lineup at the launch, I think, with PlayStation 6. I think that's where we get into this, which then makes it a little complicated because people want in on the PlayStation 6 and a handheld console like that. Now you're buying two chunks of hardware that come at a hefty price, because this isn't cheap, right? I believe, what is the PlayStation Portal worth right now? $300-$400?
I think so.
Maybe more, right? So, and dude, I'm on mine all the time. I really like that device. Now it is a streaming device only. Here they're actually looking now to be able to download the game. How powerful will this be? I bet you it outshines the Switch 2. Like, that's just right out the gate. I already feel, and I'm a little, I shouldn't say it, but I'm a little biased, I guess, towards this PlayStation handheld and even the other handhelds that I have, that they're just better than the Switch, right?
Yep.
Like, that's just where it is. Graphically, everything just runs smoother, everything looks better, and I've had some great times on my Switch. I'm not saying it's a bad console. Obviously, it's one of the biggest platforms around when it comes to handheld gaming, but at the same time, dude, it doesn't compete. It really just does not compete when you get into what Xbox and what PlayStation has to showcase. And then when you get in the form factor, I think is the other biggest thing right now. Right now, I'm wondering, what does the Switch 2 look like? Do we have actual controllers? Because when you take a look at the Portal, dude, my Portal's fantastic. It is literally the PlayStation 5 controller cut in half. Instead of a touchpad, it's a giant screen. And it looks awesome. And it runs, dude. I just turn it on, automatically connects to my PlayStation 5. I hit a button, boom, I'm in, and I'm now playing my PS5 games. Here, they're looking to make them downloadable, so this is really a step up from the PlayStation Portal. it does put them in the competitive market now, going up against the Steam Deck, going up against Switch 2, right? And whatever Xbox is looking at, because now they're both Xbox and PlayStation are talking, we're years out from a handheld console, but we're definitely looking at making one. Very, very interesting to see how that plays out. Michael, my biggest concern though, dude, is what does this thing cost? Is it the price of a full-blown console then, you think?
With how much the Pro costs, Drew, I don't have high hopes that Sony's gonna be affordable. I think you nailed it. If this comes out at the same time as the PS6, our wallets are gonna be angry.
Is it the PlayStation 6? Is that the route they're going? Like, could they go with a Nintendo dock system and say, hey, our next console is not actually a full console like you would with the PS5 Pro, but we're going to give you the next gen console, PlayStation, and go handheld, have a dock for you. Is that something you can see possible?
Unless they can just jam a ton of hardware in, I really don't see it. The only way I think that happens is if the PS5 Pro is that much better than whatever Xbox comes out with, that they say, look, maybe we don't need a PS6. The Pro's where you go to play. I just don't think, we've seen it from Nintendo, I don't think you can put enough hardware in a handheld to make it your next stay-at-home console.